guys, Marcy with Earth Tone Spa and Wellness. I hope you guys are all doing well, keeping cozy with all your loved ones. So I realize I haven't posted anything on Facebook probably for a while and haven't connected with a few of you guys, so that's kind of my intention with this message. And I just wanted to let you guys all know, like, still doing well at home. I don't know, I guess a few of you guys may not have known that I, March 18th, had made the decision to close up shop. At that point it wasn't mandated, but it was highly recommended through my association that holds my licensing for massage therapy, that recommended, you know, to follow Alberta health regulations and suggestions. And so at that time I told myself I'd give 2 weeks for reassess, and then reassess on April 2nd and go from there. It's obviously not looking like I'll be returning to work until it's indefinitely until told otherwise, which is unfortunate because I'm a massage therapist. Chose this career for a reason. I love connecting with you all. I really miss it. My daughter can only get so many massages. She's loving it, but anyways, I thought, you know, what can I do from a distance aside from if anyone needs advice for any muscular issues or they have concerns and want home care suggestions or remedies, I'd be happy to hear from you and provide some suggestions. But other than that, I thought, what else can I do? And what did I do to help myself through this time? Or what am I doing to help myself through this time? And I think although it's important to stay informed and take the necessary precautions, at the same time, I think that there's a lot of bad news, specifically with social media, right? There's a lot going on. First thing in the morning, you wake up, if you open your emails or your social media, it's usually headline, COVID-19, coronavirus. Those are things that, you know, we don't really enjoy hearing. I don't like hearing the bad first thing in the morning or before going to bed, and I got to think about it, right? So I took some precautions, but also some measures to kind of put some tools in place to guide me through this. And I thought, you know, that's what I can share with everyone, is how to help, you know, yourself in these tough times. Because, you know, let's face it, it's not like we can go out and about and interact, and a lot of us, for healing, that's going out and interacting, right? So what I thought is, I thought, you know, I've chose to kind of, for my self-preservation, eliminate that bad news. So I really limited my interactions on social media or signing into social media. But at the same time, because I'm like, you know, fear's not for the best interest of anyone. Fear, it's contagious, and fear doesn't allow room for compassion or empathy. It doesn't care about your wellness. It's actually the opposite of wellness. So I thought, you know, I'm going to share some information. If one thing, we learned a lot of stuff in massage therapy. The brain was not my favorite part, but it was an important part to understanding overall wellness. So, you know, fear in its own can actually be worse than the virus. It creates a whole contagion of worry, anxiety, distress. And right now, I'm sure, and I hope many of you are not impacted by this virus. I feel confident that many of us aren't. But many of us are impacted by fear and distress. So I want to tell people, so there's a part of the brain, not good with pronouncing things, so might have to Google that term. Amygdala. It's located kind of on your medial temporal portion of your brain. It's responsible for processing emotions. So that is your fight or flight response. So kind of when we're dealing with all this, this is the part of the brain that's going, go buy toilet paper or go do this. It's for self-preservation. So it's that fight or flight, making very quick decisions for the best interest of self-preservation. But in saying that, what happens when this function of your brain is being utilized, especially a lot, a hormone called cortisol is made. So cortisol is your stress hormone. It's the hormone that is trying to balance everything and kind of keep all systems regulated, but it's actually doing the opposite. So what happens, and sorry, I'm referring to some notes because I had to kind of, you know, cross-reference my medical information to make sure I'm giving you the best. But at the same time, I just want to double check. So when you produce the hormone, what happens is it's released and it increases your heart rate. So your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your blood glucose levels go up. It's responsible for kind of the hypertension type symptoms. So your respiration and muscle tensions are part of that response. So, you know, if you're stressed out, you're kind of not breathing fluidly. You're not taking in that oxygen. Keeping in mind in massage therapy, and I think many of you guys, sorry, the sun's kind of doing something. Many of you guys are aware that I walk you through the breathing, right? If you're feeling discomfort and muscular tension while I'm working on something, to bring that oxygen in and breathe out, so in through your nose and out through your mouth, because that is part of your brain saying, relax, this isn't that bad. Because otherwise you tense up, you're not getting that oxygen, so you're tensing up, and your muscles aren't receiving all that blood and circulation, like the circulation and oxygen, right? And so in that sense, you're also tense. You're tense, you're stressed, you can't, you know, you're sore now. And as anyone knows, when you're stressed and you're sore, you're moody, or you're not sleeping well, you're not digesting food well. A whole chain of reaction comes with this, right? So temporarily what happens is body functions start to shut down. That's kind of the effects of high cortisol, is your body function. Now you're in self-preservation mode. Your body's exhausted. It's saying, okay, I'm trying to do as much as I can to face this crisis. So it slows down your digestion, your reproduction hormones, you know, it just becomes a chain reaction. And so when you're exhausted, you're moody, you're sad, you're distressed. Like, think about, you know, a time in your life that something didn't work out that well. It was a stressful time, whether it's a relationship falling apart, financials, something that puts you into distress. Now think about those emotions. You were moody, like you kind of fall into that little bit of funk, right? So now what happens is cortisol, now that it's exhausting all systems and body functions are kind of coming down, your immunity is impacted, because your body's kind of saying, hey, we've been dealing with all this important stuff here. Pay attention to this important stuff. We're shutting down so we can function. It's getting exhausting, tired. Like, how long can a body function on this? So your immunity goes down. And when your immunity goes down, now you're vulnerable to anything you're exposed to, right? Viruses, germs, bugs, and we are exposed to it day to day. Don't kid yourself that even though you're in your own home, that you're not exposed to your own little germs, right? Germs live in all areas. So, and it's pretty easy when you're exhausted, tired, like sleep deprived, everything, that you're just set up for a weaker immune system. And so I think it's important that we maintain, and that's what I'm kind of a little bit disappointed with media, especially the news, putting this fear into everything that's going about this virus, about deaths, about, you know, sickness and numbers of ventilators rather, and all that. I'm not saying it's not important, but what we should be informed on is our immune system and how to maintain that, because ultimately that's many of us that are getting these viruses, that our immune system's already crashed, right? So I think that moving forward, even coming out of this, it's going to be more important to have a strong immune system. So when we go back out into the workforce, if you're not the necessary ones that are essential and working right now, and once we go back, we haven't been exposed to everyone else's germs for a while. We're going to need a good immune system to now deal with, and I want to be healthy for you guys and I want you guys to be healthy coming in to me, so we're not vulnerable for all this, right? So I'm hoping that this is kind of making sense. I don't want it to be a lecture, but I want it to kind of paint a picture that now we're trying to salvage, like our immune system's trying to salvage itself, and if it's weaker and vulnerable, you lose the capability, because your mood's affected too, you lose the capability of having empathy and compassion. And I think out of all of that, weakened immune system at home maybe isn't so bad. Losing compassion and empathy is devastating, because now we judge people. We're self-preservation, so we're making sure that, you know, we're defensive, we're mad because how did you not do that, or why aren't you doing this, or why are people buying up all the toilet paper or all the milk or whatever. And that's not a good place to be, right? Because now we're not having compassion and understanding that, respecting that people are also in that state of fight or flight. Understanding that this is just a whole process of processing information. I caught myself going through this, right? All this toilet paper is gone, and I have this system of, okay, Marcy, you have like baby wipes, Kleenex, paper towel, coffee filters. I'm at home, I have a shower next to the toilet. Laugh all you want. But then all of a sudden I thought, well, if people are buying toilet paper, like maybe I should go buy some because there might not be any. That's a horrible thought. Kind of laughed at myself and caught myself with that one. But that's how contagious it is, because it's self-preservation. This isn't just a matter of toilet paper. This is going to be a matter of money, food, a lot of things, items, things, material things, right? So you lose the ability to have compassion for people, and I think that this is not the time to be judging or telling people. I leave that to the professionals. In my personal opinion, I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I have faith that you guys are doing for the better, right? Now, back to the immune system, you start to crave things. When your immunity is down and your body's stressed, your body's trying to function, and it's exhausted, what fills things when you're exhausted? What gives you energy, I should say? What fuels your body? Carbs, sugars. Sugars are energy. In your body digests everything and converts it into energy so that you can function. But that becomes, you need that to function. So you're craving. So if you're catching yourself sitting at home, walking to the fridge, I see many memes on Facebook, people walking to the fridge, open up the cupboards, eating and saying, oh God, after all this, we're going to be fat. I really hope don't be so hard on yourself, first off. But in the same time, understand that is part of, if you're stressed out and going through all that, that's part of that, right? So at the same time, I thought, well, aside from all this stuff, I thought, how can we put our brains into kind of feel safe and that rest and digest state to recover? How can we calm it down so we can bring our immunity up? And I think the best thing to do is to shift your focus to gratitude. And that's what I started doing with my daughter, especially at bedtime. We're laying there like, what are we grateful for? And I've even done, I believe it was Parent Link Athabasca that posted a cool thing on Facebook of, in a jar, have a jar, and anytime you think, oh, I really miss playing with my friends, or I really miss going to school, or I miss my clients, is writing those things down on a piece of paper and putting them in a little pail or a bucket. And when this is all said and done, we're going to read this, and we're going to now reflect and remind ourselves, like, now we can go do that. And how awesome is it to have that ability of freedom to do these things that we, and being grateful for things shifts that energy and focus. And like I said, it brings you back to that feeling of love. Because remember, if you think of something that was sad, it brings you to that. If you think of something that's positive, it brings you to that and reminds you that this is what's going on. So I kind of remind myself, although this is an unfortunate situation and it's affecting many aspects in my life, not just emotional, well, it all becomes emotional, but to remind myself that I'm also getting time to spend with my daughter that I wouldn't have otherwise, because I have to work. This is kind of an opportunity to get my taxes done, my books done, to deep clean my house, to do a hobby. I haven't read a book in a long time because it hasn't been in my cards, hasn't been on my plate of time. I have time. I understand not all of you guys have time because many of you are probably working from home. So it's not always accessible, but also being grateful. Turning off the news. That shouldn't be the first thing we hear this morning. I feel confident that if there's a very serious disaster going on of stress, neighbor's going to be knocking on my door, or family's going to be calling me. I'll hear it from one point or another. And I feel that so long as I'm in immediate, safety right now, it's not the first thing I need to wake up to. I'm not saying to be opposite of being misinformed or choosing not to be informed, but just picking what you want to wake up to. And taking all these precautions and applying these precaution measures that we've been told to self-isolate, to, you know, not go into large gatherings, to practice proper hygiene and all this stuff, turn it into a choice, not out of fear, but out of an act of service. So I'm doing this because I care for you guys. I'm doing this because I have compassion, not out of fear, out of self-preservation. I'm doing this because I care for you guys, and I want everybody to be well, and I feel confident that we're all going to come out of this and see each other again. Doing that because that shifts your mind frame, that you're not doing this to self-preservation and you know, it's for the general good, right? Watch a comedy movie, do something lighthearted. Like, I've done yoga with my daughter. Meditation is huge. You don't need to be a pro at it. You just need to do some breath works. And everyone says, I can't because I start thinking of stuff. That's part of learning that practice. It's just like, do you go and do push-ups and suddenly, you know, get a bunch of muscles? No, it takes practice. So if you have that time, take that time, use it to the best of your benefit. For example, today, and I told myself with my daughter, she said, why are you dressing up and you're putting makeup on and you look pretty, Mom, what are you doing? And I told her, you know what, I'm having a pretty day. I'm acting like I'm going out. I am going to treat myself just accordingly to feel good. And it feels great to like do your hair, do stuff, and just, you feel kind of more like you're at norm instead of waking up and staying in pajamas. And I hope people understand, and I'm not going to say I don't do it, but if you're at home all the time, that's an easy thing to do, but it's also an easy thing to feel that damper of the mood. So even though like today maybe I'm dressed up a little fancier, you can't really see, but I am. For the most part, every morning I tell my daughter, like, a couple hours maybe in pajamas, and now go change into some clothes. It can be stretchy pants, whatever, a loose shirt, I don't care, a hoodie, but to wake up, make your bed, change your clothes, and you're ready for routine of the day. So that's an easier transition when we return, but also it just kind of keeps that going instead of that slump. It's easy to fall in a slump. It's okay to be in a slump. I'm not saying you can't, but to also understand that it's important to kind of get out of that slump, right? So aside from that, the last thing that I kind of wanted to share is I choose to practice like thoughts, because my thoughts, they go into matter, and if you don't think they do, think of a special moment. I think I already said this, of that makes you happy and feel those emotions. Like my daughter, something showed up on my timeline of when she was little, and it was a hilarious belly giggle that she had, right? She still has this belly giggle. It's pretty cute. Anyways, just thinking about it, I don't even have to watch the video. It reminds me how, like, just, it lightens my heart. Now, take that and take something that's devastated you and bring that thought in. It gets really serious. It gets really ugly. It feels maybe anxious, mad, sad. So your thoughts do create matter. So what I'm saying is it's important to kind of understand that, you know, we can change our thoughts. We don't have to live out of fear. We live out of choice. And I like to believe that everybody's making decisions in the best interest of everyone. And maybe there are people that's not making the decisions that we'd all like to see, but that's not for us to tell and to blame, right? I think I can understand where many people are going to say that's wrong, that, you know, and to be mad at people for not cooperating, maybe is the word. But at the same time, to understand that it's a process, right? And so then lastly, I thought the last thing that I want to say is I'm choosing to not tell you guys what to do. And I've made this personal choice to not post personally on Facebook or tell people personally or belittle people. I'm choosing to say, you know what? I'm leaving the mandated, delegated information to the healthcare professionals, for them to, you know, tell us what to do to stay home and to do this, do that, to just self-isolate. and proper hygiene. I don't feel it's my job to tell you guys to do that, and I feel that confident that you guys are already following that. I'm not going to belittle anyone who chooses otherwise. Sorry, touch my face. I'm going to wash my hands. Don't worry. And you know, because nobody likes to be told what to do or to hear repetitively. Like, I know. I don't need to be reminded to stay home. I don't like to see that first thing, stay home. Yeah, I am. It's kind of offensive in a way. I am staying home. What, like, you know, and people that are choosing not to, quite frankly, they're not looking at that post and they don't care. Maybe that's wrong to say that they don't care, but, you know, so I'm choosing to say I'm staying home, doing what I'm doing. I hope everyone's well. And so I like to say, I hope you're staying hydrated, you're staying rested, and staying well. And one thing that my daughter, when she was in a different household before she came back to me, split home, right? She called me up and she is scared. She says, Mommy, aren't you scared of the virus? Like, aren't you scared of it? I said, I'm not scared. She says, why aren't you scared of it? And I said, you know what, honey? I feel that I ask myself these 3 questions. Am I safe? Am I healthy? And am I happy? Now, happy can float around. Remember that. Happy can float around. That goes up and down. I understand that. But then if you're not happy, what can you do to make yourself happy? And that's, you know, choosing gratitude, choosing activities that make you happy, you know, just choice, right? And the biggest one that I have is gratitude for everyone that's in our essential services, specifically our healthcare, working really hard around the clock to help save lives and prevent spreads. So I have a lot of gratitude for that. And I think in saying that, we're all going to practice good self-isolation and practices. So I'm going to leave it at that. But on my last note, I'm going to say if you guys need any home care remedies or any suggestions, I can't work on you from a distance, but I can certainly offer advice. And I hope that everybody can, you know, stay well, stay healthy. Look up some videos on healthy eating for immunity, and we'll go from there. And I hope to chat because I have nothing but time now. So I hope to create videos if you guys want to see anything specifically on my Facebook page, maybe about meditations or stretches, exercises, anything like that in the wellness field. I'd be happy to take insight and input it because I can. So take care, and we'll see you guys soon, and stay well.